everyone. Thanks for joining me today on my podcast. So happy to have you here. I hope you're enjoying the different videos, the different messages that are coming through to share with all of you and your family and families. Of course, we all come from having family dynamics that in some form or another have been very functional and in other forms have been very dysfunctional. And so addressing these different categories for each of you is my goal, is to not only share the information with you, but also hope to elevate you in some capacity and elevate your families as we're going through these. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this topic in particular is because we all come from families and we all have, and most of us have our own families that we've created. And the power of family dynamics is such an important role in all of our lives and how we show up and what we learned early on in our childhood, what we bring into our different relationships, what we bring into our businesses, how we have the different relationships that we have around money, abundance, wealth, the types of relationship experience that we have with our partners, with our children. And so as much as a lot of us don't see or maybe don't think that there's that much of an importance as to the family values that were instilled and that you were born into and that you learned growing up, I promise you there's still a lot of that influence in how you show up today and how you develop your life and how you develop yourself in business. And so one of the topics that I wanted to address very intentionally today is how we have this different way of exchanging our power in our families. And right, so a lot of times it's the battle of power in families and family dynamics, and it becomes very difficult when the parents have been the parents to these children and everybody is coming together to build these beautiful businesses that expand beyond our time, to create legacy, to create impact. And when we're having these experiences where one person or a few people are in this power struggle, right? They're still battling in power, like who's in charge? You can't talk to me that way. You can't act like that with me. You can't address me in that way. Yet there's these different levels of respect or disrespect happening. And all of that starts to influence and impact how the business is conducted, how the relationships are built, the foundation of where these businesses are being built, and the foundation of these different relationships and partnerships. So definitely it's something that we all need to look at some point in time, whether it's for the experience that you have with your family of origin and the battle of power in that family, the battle of power in the family that you have built and created. Maybe it's the battle between you and your spouse, between you and your children, between you and the in-laws. I know the in-laws are a big influence also. And when we're not addressing these situations and we're just pretending like it's all okay, we're gonna be fine, it's gonna be okay, like somehow it's gonna be resolved, somehow without us interjecting or without us having conversations around it, what happens is that things begin to build up, right? And we've all witnessed what happens when we allow things to just fester and build up and not really addressing it or finding a way of at least bringing it to the awareness of the individual or individuals where this is happening. And so today I'm going to invite you to sit with your own family of origin experiences and the family that you have created if you've already established your own family, and begin to assess what is the structure of the battle of power that happens or has happened in your family. Right? Sometimes it's the person who's the loudest, the one that screams the most, that gets a lot of the attention, and then nobody wants to deal with that person. There's also the other extreme, right? The person that cuts us off, that doesn't want to talk about anything and just cocoons themselves and and cuts us off for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and we don't hear from that person, and that's also very hurtful. And maybe it's the person who just says something and gives their opinion, but doesn't want to hear and doesn't want to listen and pay attention to what the other family members want to share or what they're feeling and going through. And so this battle of power, not only do we see it happening in our families and family of origin, but then we take that into how we show up in business, how we show up in our own family office and family businesses, and how we show up with our spouses. And so the reason this dynamic is so important to be aware of how you navigate in that space, in that area, is because it's how you are showing up. It's how you are defining whether you're capable of having a conversation with other people, even though they're in disagreement of you, or whether you are the person that is cutting people off because you don't want to hear it, you don't want to address it, you don't want to be part of the conversation, or whether you're the person that actually just has a lot of difficulties in having conversations and engaging in conversations that are uncomfortable. And so the reason why I continue to speak about this is because it really dings the different areas of our life where we could, instead of having all of these limitations, right? Because when you can't have a conversation with someone else and express how you feel and listen to them express how they feel, there's a limitation. And so here you are looking to expand a business, grow a business with these family members, to expand your family office into maybe different verticals of the business that you are presently in how you are presently having this business structure, and you want to add to this business structure. And if you can't have those kinds of conversations and you can't come to the table and in a healthy manner be able to address what is going on, then that energy of lack, that energy of scarcity, but that energy of limitation is not going to let you expand, right? And this happens in relationships too with our partners. If you're in a partnership where you have to walk on eggshells. I hear this all the time. I have to walk on eggshells. I'm not sure how I'm going to share this with her or with him. I'm not sure how they're going to take it. I'm not sure how they're going to interpret it. They're probably going to get mad. Like if you're having that kind of conversation or that kind of those emotions and feelings around the partner that you are with, then there's deeper issues happening there, and there's deeper conversations that need to happen, because you should be able to be your best, awesome self, right? But your authentic self with all of your flaws, all of your gifts, all of your strengths, all of your weaknesses, right? All of it that you can encompass being fully who you are with your partner. And that goes for the partners in our business. If you're having trouble at home not being yourself or not being able to be yourself because you're afraid of your partner, or you're afraid of the backlash that will come from a conversation with your partner, then chances are you're going to have the same type of experience at work. Whether it's with your boss at work, if you're an employee, whether it's your colleagues or your executive team in your own businesses. And so this is something that has to be addressed, is that battle of power within the partnership, within the couple, and how you address each other from a place of love and compassion rather than from a place of judgment and criticism. And what I hear a lot of times happens with couples is that there's the one-upper, right? The person that, no, let me tell you, what's happening in my life, and I'm going to discard what's going on in your life. It's Father's Day, so everybody has to drop everything because it's Father's Day, or it's my birthday, or it's Mother's Day, and, forget it when it's anybody else's birthday or Father's Day for them, or a special occasion, right? Because that person is they're only focused on themselves and not focused on their partner, right? And partners feel this. We feel this. We can all feel when something is off with our closest relationships, and our partners just happen to be that person. And when we are having this difficulty expressing ourselves, sharing how we feel, sharing how we don't want that experience again, coming from a place of wanting to understand why they act that way, why they say those things to us, and us being able to defend ourselves, right? Not from a place of battling with this person, or not in the one-upper, or not in this place where, it's my way or the highway, take it or leave it, there's the door. Like we've heard, right? We've all heard or have witnessed or have experienced this for ourselves. To be with a person or to have a relationship with a person that we can't talk about certain things. And so I know that this is a problem. This is a huge problem that happens in the family dynamic of the couple, the dynamic between the couple. And then, of course, if that's what's happening between the couple, then guess what? That's also going to trickle into how you do business, what's going on in your business, and it's also going to trickle into the relationships that you have within your family and with others. And so many times I can't even explain, I can't even give you a number of a percentage, but it's a very high percentage of families that the couple doesn't really talk much with each other, to each other, about each other. And what they do is that they talk about the kids all the time, or they talk about the business all the time. They talk about the work all the time. And there's something wrong when you can't have an authentic, open line of communication with your partner, with your spouse, because that says that there are underlying issues that you really don't want to address. So it's better to go into the conversations that distract each other, right? The kids, right? There's always something going on with the kids, or there's always something going on at work. And it seems like it's easier to talk about the things that are outside of you, rather than looking at the relationship within each other and being able to have those conversations with each other. And so whenever I'm working with a couple, one of the things that I highly, highly recommend for all of you out there is date night, right? But date night could be once a week, could be once a month, really should be at least once a month. And in that time, it's not about being on our cell phones. It's not about talking about the kids. It's not about talking about work. It's really reconnecting with each other and being present with each other and listening to how each of you is doing, right? And so it's talking about emotions. It's talking about how you're feeling. It's talking about what is working, what are the things that you would like to see better or different within your partner, within the relationship, what you need more of, what you need less of, talking about future plans. These are usually common themes that can be addressed on a date night without it feeling like you're not just there because you have to be there, which happens a lot. I've heard this. Or they'll say things like, no, Eileen assigned us to come on a date night, and so that's why we're here. It's like, okay, that doesn't work. That's not good. So it's coming from a place of wanting to be there with each other, for each other, but it's also the planning, right? So sometimes I do ask the partners to take turns in planning this event, this outing, so that the other person feels like they're being tended to, that they're being catered to, that they're being taken care of. We all love to be taken care of sometimes. And so the full intention of these conscious, and I'm going to continue to talk about conscious conversations, being present with each other, listening, paying attention, paying close attention, asking questions, being curious. Tell me more about what you are feeling. Tell me more about how you're doing. Tell me more about how that diet is coming along, or how you're feeling fulfilled in the job that you've just taken on. Tell me more about how you're being fulfilled in the family business. What role are you looking forward to or are being inspired to take on next? Are you happy in this role? And so these are just some of the questions that would bring in an energy of closeness within the couple. And so when we're in this energy of feeling inspired, then we want to do more of these and have more of these outings and have more of these conversations. But if we're not addressing each other and it's business as usual, yes, we get home, we're busy, kids are home, we've got to cook, we've got to clean, we've got to get ready for tomorrow, we've got to talk about work, or we've got to wrap up work, and you're taking work home. In this energy of being busy all the time, you really don't have a moment for yourself to not only connect or reconnect with yourself, but also connect and reconnect with your partner. And this is the person that you're doing life with. And so many times after a few years, what I find in the couples that I work with, particularly the ones that then are very busy with building a business, family office, they've got all of these activities going on with the kids. There's all this wealth coming in, and how to and structuring this family office to protect the wealth, and there's all of these other distractions happening. What I notice is that instead of the family coming in, right, so that there's not this battle of power, and you do this and I do that, and you know, I already took care of the kids, or I already took care of homework, or I already took care of the meals, or and being in this energy of discontent and disharmony, you're coming together with, okay, I cooked the meal, you can do the dishes, or let's pull in the kids so that they can help with the chores. Let's, you know, come in together collaboratively. And the parents, I'm going to always stress that the parents are the ones in charge. The parents are still the ones that are giving direction to the kids. The kids are not the ones that are supposed to be taking on these responsibilities, unless, of course, it's a single parent. And then at that point, still the parent is the parent and the kids are still the kids, and asking for help, right? Because there's that exchange happening where everybody is helping each other. But once again, what I'm stressing in this conversation today is being collaborative, right? Let's build together, let's work together, let's make this family work together. And so the word battle, I use that very intentionally today, the battle of power. When you're bringing that war home, that's exactly how it feels, right? And so everybody just wants to go off and do their own thing. Everybody just wants to cocoon in their room, and people don't really want to gather at the dinner table. They really don't want to gather and having any of these conversations. And so very early on in the conversations, when I'm working with couples and bringing in and understanding the family dynamic and structuring the family dynamic so that they start to step into a more successful family, what I understand is that many times we start to discount using words that are very dismissive. Oh yeah, he's just a teenager. Yeah, that's why he's never in his room, and that's why he's sleeping all the time. Or yeah, that's the baby. Yeah, she just, she's a mess, and she continues to allow, she just throws all her toys out and doesn't pick up after herself. A lot of these conversations that I'm hearing are all about structure and structuring a family dynamic that brings everybody in to be a contributor of the family energy, right? Just because you have a 13 or 14-year-old, it's not okay for them to be on their phone all the time, or it's not okay for them to be in their room all the time. It's not okay for them to be sleeping all the time. Like, these are real issues that need to be addressed. And you wouldn't know what is going on with your children if you are not having conversations with them regularly. And so even the little ones, like, we teach them to, we have a toy chest. You've got to throw all your toys into the toy chest when you're done playing with that toy, or you've got to put that toy away before you pull out another toy. And so when we look at it from a place of collaboration rather than a place of battle and power, we are seeing how we can all come together and continue to build each other out, even the little ones, right? Even the adults, we can build each other out by seeing improvement in what they're doing and complement how they're showing up and what they're doing differently, right? And so those conversations at the dinner table become imperative. The collaboration of picking up before we, sit down for dinner and after we're done with dinner. The fact that we're all enthusiastic about having these conversations helps the kids also feel enthusiastic that they're partaking and participating in this family and how this family functions. And so when you step back and you realize that this power in your family, rather than being a battle, can be collaborative, can be aligned, where everybody is working together. Now you get to also see the improvement of each of the members, but then you also begin to see the elevation of their frequency. People are looking forward to sitting down at the dinner table. Your spouse looks forward to your date night. You having these conversations that are conscious and collaborative with the employees, with your C-suite executives. Everybody is looking forward to these conversations because they're not feeling like they're going into a war and that they have to start defending themselves before they walk into the room, but that instead it's by invitation, right? They feel inspired. They feel like they're excited to share. They're excited to see you again. They're excited to connect, right? And so connection in families and family dynamics is imperative. It's so important. And so with that information, I'm going to leave you all today. Remember to be aware that rather than having this battle of power in your family, that instead you are having this energy of collaboration and alignment. And this is just going to continue to elevate the frequency, but also elevate your family dynamic, and just everybody's going to begin to feel more aligned, more important, more loved, more connected. And so with that, I leave you all today, wishing you all the best, hoping that you're applying some of these techniques. I know they work. I've practiced with many families throughout the years, practiced in my own family, in my own family office. So I'm really leaving you with this and hope this encourages you to start practicing within your own family, your own family dynamic and businesses. Be well and see you soon. Thank you.